Welcome to the Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. 7:15 p.m. remote participation meeting of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, OML, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 818-0509-7403 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Alicia Hersey at ahersey@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 142 prior to the meeting. Hey, Colleen, good to see you. Everyone's muted.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. Hi, Bob.
Nice to see you all as well.
Yeah. And so we have, no, we don't. 1, 2, 3. We need a fourth.
No, we have 4. Sean's here. Bob.
Oh, I forgot myself. Oy vey. I'm so sorry, Colleen. Thank you so much. It's just been one of those days. Fantastic. Can we get a motion? I'd like to point out that the agenda has a starting at 7:15 p.m. at the top and 6:15. I claimed that one. Alicia sent it to me to adjust. I adjusted some things, but didn't adjust the time because in my brain, all meetings start at 6:15. So
That's okay.
I'd like to say that with the adjustment of changing the call to order time of 6:15 on the agenda, if that's okay with people, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
So
I
moved.
will second.
Thank you. Bob Williams moves it, or Sean is, and Colleen seconds. I'm going to do it by Hollywood Squares. Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Your computer shook yes?
Yeah.
Sean, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. And Jeff votes aye. So under general business, first thing to do is to approve the minutes of 8/28/2024. Would anybody like to make a motion for the August 28 minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob.
Second.
I'm going to give that one to Sean, Colleen, okay? Moved by Bob, seconded by Sean. Any discussion? Hearing none. Again, we'll do Hollywood Squares. Colleen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
And Jeff says aye. Which takes us to the buzz-in presentation and audit review, which I think puts Alicia in the driver's seat. I think you can share, can't you, Alicia?
I think I sent it to Max and Max can put it on. I also sent what I'm calling a balance sheet, but it's really Alicia's idea of a balance sheet because I am not an accountant. So I'm sending that to you because we don't have the audit yet. I sent it to you today, this afternoon, but I think Max, is there any way we can put that up?
I believe I can share. Max is not right there. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull it up and see what happens, okay?
Okay, great.
And you get to tell me what to do, Alicia.
Great.
Enable editing. Let me just kind of square it up on the screen here. Okay. I have. Yes, I believe. Can anybody see that spreadsheet?
Can we make it bigger?
Yeah, I'm going to do a couple things. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay? I was reading from that a moment ago. There we go.
Okay.
And I can even make it a little bit larger. How's that for you?
Great. Thank you very much.
It's like this big on my large monitor over here.
So just I want to remind people. So we've had our audit, and I have to say it was very useful working with the auditors. It made me realize where I need to do some reporting and where I don't need to do, just getting systems put together about tracking everything. Everything was in order. We're waiting to get the report back from the auditor. We don't have it back, but as far as I can tell, there was nothing of concern. They might have some ideas of how we should be tracking this stuff. Um, so as you see, what I've set it up as is the deposits into the trust account over since 2022. And we've had 3 deposits, and then we have some interest income
Mhm.
that you're seeing at the top. And then what I did for the rest is I broke it down to what our commitments are. And that was the voted in commitments of a rental assistance for those next 3 years. And we committed 30,000 on the first, which was 5 families. We moved it to 60,000 on the second year, which was 10 families. And then we moved it up to 72,000 the third year, which was 12 families. We also had an audit at that point of $6,000 for the 3 years. So then I've show you what we've spent so far on this, and did the back numbers of how many. I want to explain on the year 2023, our second year, it shows we only spent 57,000, not the full
That there.
6,000. We had somebody drop out 6 months into it. And it was at a point where I didn't put anybody into that spot immediately. So we had $3,000 floating, but that actually worked very well because what happened is in 2024, we had another person drop out after she'd been in for 4 months. And so I actually took two of the thousand from the three that we had floating and and put another family in to the
Mhm.
program because that was just 4 months into it. So we still have a spare 1,000 that we haven't spent in rental assistance. But what I find is that it's a one of those programs that people come and go. Some people are steady, 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 and others have other things happen and they move on.
Mhm.
So this shows you that right now at the bottom, it shows, oh my goodness, this is
Hold
for,
on. Let me scroll down for you.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I have a very large, those architectural drawings they send us, I finally got a
Yeah.
big monitor for that. So it,
There, perfect.
it may be off your screen. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have approximately 158,250 right now sitting in that account. We have a commitment of another 28,000 to finish out this year.
Okay.
So
Alicia, can I ask? We're talking about this year. This is calendar year,
yes,
correct?
correct.
Yes. So just so we're clear, town finances are July 1st to
Fiscal.
June. Yeah, fiscal July to June. And so this is actually January to December. Okay, thanks.
Well, it's actually not technically January
Well,
to December. We open it in January. So we run, this has been something the accounting department has gone crazy with me on, but I just say that is my year. That's the grant year. I'm calling it grant year.
mhm,
So we're in grant year 2024, and it's our third year of doing this. Does
mhm.
anybody have any questions on this?
I do. So what's the audit first 3 years positive, that's the cost of the audit?
That's the cost of the audit. That's
Okay.
our commitments.
I just
And
answered my own question. Thank you.
yes, and then
Yeah,
when we pay that bill, we'll move it over.
yeah. This was pointed out to us, Bob, I think before you joined us, we didn't have our the bylaw requires us to audit
Yeah, I remember now.
annually. Yeah,
I
okay,
just,
good. Yeah. So I'm hoping it'll be less than 6,000 going forward. Basically they picked up the first 3 years. Yeah, and I went back in here and I did the pluses and minuses, Alicia, and I got it to foot. So thank you very much. And I know you're working with Barbara to
Mhm.
come up with a format that will look a little bit, maybe look a little bit different.
Yep,
Because Barbara has things she has to do for the town. Barbara Tierney, a town, I always get her
finance director.
finance director. Thank you very much. I always say hi to her and I always get her title incorrect. Well, good. Thank you very much. So typically, the MRPC, we look at budgets every month. And as we look at a budget, somebody typically says, move to accept the budget pending audit. So it gets put into the minutes. So I'm going to suggest we do something along those lines, if it's okay with you all.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to move to accept the budget as presented
Thank
and
you.
the audit.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Can we have a second? I'll do it. I'll second it. I can do that. So we moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none or seeing none? Colleen?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, will this get shared with, well, I guess if it goes in our minutes, then
Yeah.
it will be shared with CPC. I can direct them to it, just in terms
Yeah.
of them knowing how the money is being.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And so that you know, Lisa's been working with Barbara. And this was the initial format that was put out there. Obviously, there's no pennies there. Interest is not always .00. So
It's not to the exact amount.
yeah, it's going to get. We have to marry what we've got here with what the auditors give us and what Barbara Tierney requires for the town's formatting. So it's going to look a little bit different, but these are the ins and the outs. And of course, we yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So I hope that's a helpful answer, Colleen. Thank you.
So we should have this for the next meeting. We should have the full audit so you can see the whole thing, but we just wanted to get some numbers to everybody because the next thing on the list gets us to the next set of numbers we need to talk about.
Exactly. So moved and seconded to accept as presented pending audit. Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye, sorry,
Thank
my
you.
computer's crazy.
No worries. Bob,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Jeff votes aye. Thank you very much. I'm going to unshare this screen. I was in a meeting earlier today doing stuff with people. I felt I had vertigo. We were sharing, screen, looking at a software installation. It was crazy. Okay, next on the list on our agenda is the CPC budget request. And Alicia, you want to talk about this at all? Do you have any opening comments on this?
Sure. So the things that you're going to be deciding is, are we going to keep the program at the 12 that we've just gone this year? And so will we be requesting that from CPC? And are we going to request some more money from CPC to start building a reserve for purchasing or helping a project or any of that sort of thing? So that's really your decision. My recommendation on the rental assistance, we had people get accepted, get dropped out, people moved, and so it went on till about August. And we actually ended up losing people and having people come into the program. So we ended up with 3 new people at the tail end. They were all really, really excited to be called upon because they were all in financial difficulty. Everybody is. But in the same sense, we ended up with only maybe 3 or 4 that didn't make it on. I I don't know. This is your discussion about, I think 12 is a good place to maybe stabilize just for another year and see where we're at. But this is your discussion on that. Was there something else I wanted to? We could do what we requested last time, which was 200,000. Jeff, I'm going to let you go forward with this discussion.
Yeah, I actually want to kind of treat this kind of a roundtable discussion, but I want to prime the pump with Alicia does a phenomenal amount of work in order to manage the rental assistance. And Alicia is not simply dedicated to this function in her job. I also believe Alicia, our um, social worker, has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also going to put a little bit of a push on you. So I, I want to help. I think it would be absolutely. I think I'll speak for myself, probably for all of us. We want to help as many people as we possibly can, but just the sheer administration. It's what we went from 6 to 10, 10 to 12 because of the sheer amount of work that was happening, Alicia, if I recall.
And also, I do think that, if we could build units, that might be the ultimate thing that we want to do. Yes, we want to help the families that need it, but we also want to be putting money aside to build units. That's my feeling. I don't know however other people feel about this.
My view is that the rental assistance is more of a stopgap, sort of a Band-Aid, sort of to bring people along. But I think ultimately, in long term, building units and making affordable housing available is the way to go. Yeah, and I want to clarify, Alicia. So there were only like 3 people that were on your waiting list after the dropouts and everything.
Well, I'm going to talk about this on the air rental, but I can bring this in. So no, I still have probably I've had people put in applications after the fact, but we worked from the waiting list from the original. I had probably 5 people on the waiting list, so there's 2 people that didn't get in. One of the people that got in this time had been on the waiting list last year and did not get in. Um, I had a discussion. So we originally put this program together, and I had talked to somebody over in Boxborough because they had this program 5, 6 years ago, and I used a lot of their documents to kind of research how to put it together. I got a call from the Boxborough woman who was doing the program, and she said, "You guys are giving out 500. We're only giving out 250, and I'm thinking about changing that." And she wanted to pick my brain. And very interestingly, we were talking about the different makeup of our communities. And she was saying that she has most everybody on her rental assistance in Boxborough makes over $40,000 a year. Of the 12, we only have 2 people, maybe 3, that make
Mhm.
over $40,000 a year. So you can see that this program is really helping people that don't. We have a number of people at the $20,000 a year income, and they're trying to maintain an apartment and take care of themselves.
Yeah,
So
and Alicia, also, if I may ask, and thanks, Bob, for asking that, and thanks for the response. The other question is, have we ever had more than the number of slots at the beginning of the year? We have rolling
first year,
requests that come in.
the
I think
first
in
year
the
we did.
first year we did, and that's why we expanded to 10. Um, so
We could expand again. It is a lot to manage. Um, I probably would recommend just because of the year that we have ahead of us. So this is what we could do. We could do the 12 slots. And what I've actually found is there's situations where sometimes emergencies come forward, really serious emergencies.
mhm.
Our guidelines say that we need to take the people on the wait list in the order that, the most needy on the wait list. I don't usually add in, these are things that we'll talk about maybe next month if we can have a meeting. I know December's busy, but we just have to finalize the guidelines for the coming year.
Mhm.
Um, so the only thing I can see that really needs to have any more discussion is the wait list. And I can write something up so people can understand that and look at it ahead of time and we can talk about it. But I don't know. If we did 12 and then left it open that we could decide to add in, it seems to be a bit of a rolling program. Or we do have money. You can vote to
Yeah.
spend the money. If we get so many applications, we can come back and say, hey, we want to give 2 more grants or something like that.
Yes. It is my understanding that we have the ability to move money from account to account should we need it and people come in. Colleen, you put your hand up?
Yeah, that's what is sort of, I was wondering if I'm remembering this correctly, that when we put in our first 2 CPC applications, it was specifically for rental assistance.
Mhm.
When we put in this last one, we kept it a little more open-ended, that we anticipated 72,000 for the rental assistance program. And so I wonder if we just word it in such a way when we put in the next ask that we make sure there's that flexibility. I think there was in how we wrote it the last time, that we weren't
Yeah,
locked into X dollars for this and X dollars for that, but it was more, this is how we anticipate
Yeah, I was
putting
actually
up that 200,000.
I was looking down the notes I made for myself right now where guidelines that we set up and what was our last application and how we worded that. I was just making those notes to make sure I followed up with Alicia. Do we get that? Thanks, Sean.
And
Go ahead.
Can I add one
Yeah.
other question?
Mhm.
This is year 3. So will we have
You're 4.
people
It'll be
from the original cohort that are now coming off and no longer
Yes.
eligible? And so that also may mean, we're going to have some more spots opening up because we are in that now rolling people over. So I'm personally in favor of keeping it at 12 and having flexibility if we need it for adding, but trying to keep it with what we have seems to work.
Thank you. Sean's got his hand up.
Yeah,
Please.
I would kind of piggyback off of what everybody said. I agree with you, Jeff, that Alicia has a lot of different balls that she's juggling. And so I think keeping it at 12 for the next year is probably definitely a better idea. I was curious about something that Alicia had said about some things that come up like as emergencies. Maybe that's something to look for in the future if we establish another type of fund within our in the trust that would be like a one-time infusion to help with emergencies. But just something to think about for a discussion at a later meeting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Sean. Also, the fuel assistance, I believe, Alicia, and help me understand. Fuel assistance is funded by grant and is typically, I'm sorry, not, well, I think of them as grants, but hasn't fuel assistance been funded in the past by Main Street Bank at one point? And
IC Federal Credit Union.
IC Federal Credit Union. So Sean, along those lines, we do have funds that are given to for emergency for heat, for heating systems that need to be repaired. You can't have a house freezing in the middle of the winter if things go downhill really quickly when there's no heat in the winter in a home. The damage can be huge. And so Alicia has some not only just for fuel, but also to help with I believe in the past, Alicia, you've helped with putting in heating systems and stuff like that.
Well, that's a different program. That's the
Okay.
housing rehab program. I put in heating systems, but on the emergency fund, we've only had a total of $10,000 put in there. We've got about 5 in there right now. And it is an emergency fund. It's a one-time fund. You can get up to $500. It is for emergencies, but we have used it to help people. We've cobbled together different ways for people to get current on their rents,
Mhm.
or we've paid for oil bills, or we paid electrical bills with it, trying to get people up. But we usually don't just pay a bill unless it's something where it is a one-time thing that they just have gotten behind and this is going to help them. We try and get them to work with the social worker to figure out a long-term plan for that. So I would love to find a way to fund this a little bit more, and maybe right now, Sean, I think this goes through the town manager's office, and I don't know if the select board has any oversight on this or not.
Requests or funding, Alicia?
Well, the select board has voted, makes all the decisions about it.
Mhm.
Um, but we've got a board that sits in the town that is made up by the police, fire, town manager's office, senior center, my office, and the social worker's office
Mhm.
that makes decisions on the requests.
Thank you. Sean,
Yeah, just
go
just
ahead.
the last comment on this
No
particular
worries.
topic. I also am in favor of, again, requesting the 200,000 so that we can continue to try and build up so that we can build units or purchase units.
Thank you, Sean. I think many of us feel the same way. Hey, Pauline, how are you tonight?
Thank you, Jeff, for reminding me about tonight's meeting. There were a couple before you, and I kind of forgot this one.
I
But-
told you 6:15 also. I couldn't get
I
in.
know,
You were
I'm
driving
glad
me
it was
crazy.
7:15. I would have never made it. In response to something Alicia just said, and I will admit I've not been following, I've been trying to cook dinner. Habitat for Humanity has a program for critical repairs where they will provide funds for no interest loans to residents of all of the jurisdictions who need improvements such as heating. And Alicia, I know you know Carolyn. If there are any residents in Ayer who are in need now that affordable housing can't fund for budgeting issues, because we know how that works, please let me know, or please just give Carolyn a call, because they're looking to try to help as many people as possible, because they are receiving funds from other sources.
That's
That's
great.
wonderful.
No, that's really good. So you have that information, Alicia?
Yeah, Carolyn and I have talked about it once or twice on different people. She sent somebody to me, I sent somebody to her.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're facing right now is the increase in costs. When I put the grant application in for the new housing rehab, things have skyrocketed, materials, costs in general. So we're looking around for ways to cobble programs together to make sure we can do what we're supposed to do, 7 houses with our housing rehab. And I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that's
Well,
great.
what I heard you say earlier, Alicia, was repairs, and Habitat has a program called Critical Repair, which is entirely different from the funding sources. All of, if I'm correct in what I say, all the critical repair funds come from donations or free services, contractors or whatever. So if we have a family here in Ayer who needs a roof, a ramp, a new heating system, either ask me or call Carolyn directly, because I'm sure we'll be able to help you.
Excellent.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
That's great. No, it's wonderful to have as many tools as possible.
Yes,
And
thank you, Jeff.
somehow,
I wouldn't have been here without you today.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you. I wouldn't have been here tonight without you.
Yeah, well, I was trying to yell at you across the traffic over the road. It wasn't working very well, was it?
No, well, I'm sorry I'm deaf, but you
No
know,
worries.
it happens.
Hey. So, no, I think that's great. And we don't know what the next year's going to bring for us. So it'd be nice to have as many options as possible.
So this
and
discussion is around what we are going to request out of CPC. Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
We, as Sean said, we requested $200,000 last year, and it was 72 plus the balance for start building a kitty for taking action on purchasing or building homes.
Sounds good to me. I mean, taking action about building would be.
Yeah. We can't compete in the marketplace, Bob, because of the
No.
timing,
No.
and we have to go through steps as a community. But
Right.
at least if we build a war chest, we can possibly get somebody to work with us and
Right.
get and get it going forward.
Right.
And so it's a little frustrating right now. So I'm kind of used to turning these things around in a day, as soon as we can and moving forward. But we got to deal with what we have to deal with. So,
Would it
it-
make sense for me to then bring that number to my next CPC meeting and just see what they, see if that matches what we have in the, budget for affordable housing? I think we have plenty, but
I can't see, well, I don't think it will hurt.
right.
And I do think we still have, Pat, James, and unfortunately Cindy can't be here this evening. I want to get them to weigh in. Because they have their ear to the ground also. They may have, more, but I think 200, level funding is probably the floor at this point, Colleen, if I can be so bold as to say that on behalf of the trust. Okay. Now we've been chatting about this a little bit. I think the next on the agenda is the Air Rental Assistance Program for 2025. Alicia?
I think we decided that do you want to vote on the 12 or do you want to wait till December to vote on the 12?
I think if I heard Sean say it correctly, 12 is a great number to work with, and if we have to take in more, we do.
Yes, we're going to have at least 4 people rolling off so that, it'll be interesting to see what we have when we've got people not qualifying too for another year.
Yeah, and then there was some concern you had about the guidelines for next year.
I just want to get a confirmation on how we're going to work with the wait list. So I will make sure I put that together with a memo so everybody can look at it and we can just review it in December if we can have a December meeting.
I would love to. Sean, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wouldn't mind waiting till December to vote on the 12, just so that the other members have a chance to weigh in.
Agreed. Is that a motion, Sean? I'll second it.
Yes, that's a motion.
Thank you. So we have a motion to wait until December with more members present to vote. I'll second that. Colleen? Assuming there's no further discussion, Colleen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Bob. Bob?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Jeff says aye. Thank you. And so, yeah, if you need some help, Alicia, getting out the guidelines, I think we should get the guidelines out to the trust.
Yep.
And so that we can have a chance to take a look at it.
Yep.
And if you have any comments on the guide, I pull things up year to year. I go, oh yeah, I had a comment on it. By all means, put in your comments. That'd be very helpful.
That's great.
Next is the Air Commons update and opportunities for advocacy. I was in touch with Phil Giffey by email today. It's a balancing act. Alicia, as you all know, we made a request for an earmark with the federal budget. The federal budget hasn't gone forward yet, and the earmark that we asked for, they doubled it, and it's still in the budget as far as I know. So there's a $4 million earmark for Air Commons.
I
and
think it's only 2, but maybe.
I'm sorry, 2.
Yeah. I went and read it in the at least in the House one.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. There was discussion of asking. There was a discussion. They asked if we could double it. I guess they didn't. Anyway, the earmark request of $2 million went to Senator Markey and I can't believe I'm blanking on her name.
Warren.
Senator Warren's office. And as far as we know, it's still in the federal budget. It has not been removed from the proposed federal budget for next year. We don't know what's going to happen. And so I sent Phil an email out this morning. Sorry, Phil, it's last minute. He wrote back saying that it's still there. There's been no change there. And we didn't get in the last round for the Commonwealth, but there's a round coming up after the first of the year that he believes we'll be able to make application in. And again, Alicia, I think this is for the tax credits.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we get approved for tax credits, that changes the
that's the funding mechanism they want to use.
Exactly, they want to use here in Massachusetts. And I thanked Phil, and he sent back fingers crossed and multiple prayer hand emojis after it. So he doesn't need any help in advocacy right now. He didn't ask for any more help, but I'm going to ask us all to think positive thoughts about this as we go into the next 6 weeks and turn the corner into 2025, because it would be really helpful if we can get this building done, get a shovel in the ground. Any other comments or questions about that at this point? It's a hurry up and wait situation. I hate to say it. Next on the agenda is election of officers, and if it's okay with you all, can we wait till we have a fuller board here?
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, thanks. So I'm not going to make a motion about it. We'll just postpone that. Public comment. Have we got anything going on people want to mention that at
Did
this
you
point?
want to review the letter from?
Thank you very
Support?
much. I missed that. Yes, that's right. So at our last meeting, guys, I'm going to share this. At our last meeting, we met with Devon's Crest. So can you all see that letter?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me for a moment. Excuse me. A letter was requested to be written by the Housing Trust and also the Housing Committee. So we put together a letter, and I'll just read it quickly. On August 30th, 2024, I need a space in there. To whom it may concern. On Wednesday evening, August 28th, 2024, the Devon's Crest Tenants Association made a presentation to the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust regarding their plan to maintain some affordable housing in the Devon's Crest neighborhood of Ayer, Massachusetts, through a private purchase and ongoing cooperative management. The Ayer Affordable Housing Trust voted to support this effort. All 5 members present voted in the affirmative. On behalf of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust, yours sincerely, Jeff Tillotson, Chair. So that was shared. That letter was shared with
Connie Sullivan.
Thank you very much. It was shared with Attorney Sullivan, and I don't know the status of the letter, a similar letter from the housing. I'm stumbling on words. It's strange tonight. Housing Committee. The Affordable Housing Committee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where that stands. I know they were working on their own wordsmithing at the time. So just wanted to let you all.
They're voting on something this Friday.
Yeah, they're voting. They meet on Fridays at 4 or 2 or some crazy time. It's wild. So, thank you all for doing that. Connie was quite appreciative to get a copy of that letter. I don't know what it means. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Yeah, it's just, I kind of hope and look at, excuse me for 1 second, Pauline. I look at this as all boats rise on the same tide. And I don't want to be in a position where we're tugging at the same pot and not everyone's going to win. But anyway, that's a comment. May not be appropriate. Pauline, please.
I think you answered my question, Jeff, but when you commented about you didn't know where this is going, I must have missed that particular issue. Are the Devon's Crest tenants lobbying this effort through Attorney Sullivan, asking the taxpayers of Ayer to pay for this?
I'm
sure you don't know the answer, and if you don't, it's okay.
No, not.
I'm going to be dead honest with my answer. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you, but during our discussion, if I recall, Sean, if you want your response, please.
I can tell from the presentation they did to the select board back in August, they indicated that they weren't asking the town taxpayers for any of the funding. They were just looking for support from the various boards for their endeavor going forward. They were securing funding through other means.
Correct. That's what they told us.
Exactly.
I remember that, and I don't mean to talk over people. I do remember that, but coming up tonight, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and if you take a look, if you see the letter, the last line of the first paragraph.
Yep.
Through a private purchase and ongoing cooperative management, and those words were chosen exactly for that reason.
And that was my concern. Yes.
Yeah.
So-
It's not the housing trust's job
right?
to suggest eminent domain purchases to the town of Ayer.
Nor should the town of Ayer become a landlord.
The hard part about that is we would go through the same thing every other landlord would go. The first thing we would do is have to bring it up to code, move people
Exactly.
out. It's
Exactly.
just the disruption is huge. So thank you, Pauline,
Anyway,
and
thank you, Jeff.
Sean. Yeah,
Thank you for
no,
inviting me tonight again.
it's a team effort, Pauline. So with that, we got to come up with an upcoming meeting, and I apologize, guys, for what's been going on with the calendar. What happened is we got bumped by finance because of holidays last month, and we got pushed around because of that. And we're hoping that that won't happen anymore. We do go for the last week of the month, typically, and
That's not going to be great for December.
yeah,
No,
nothing.
at all.
I can't even get my calendar there. So we could always do it New Year's Eve. What do you see? What do you guys say, huh? Pop a cracker or two, and I'm talking about one of those things.
Oh.
And the 25th is one holiday in December. It's just going to be jammed up and hard. Alicia,
I think I should, what I did this time was I just wrote Carly a note and said, what days do you have available for us to have a meeting? And she said, if you can do 7:15, I can give you Wednesday. And so that's how
this
we
one.
ended this
That's how we
one.
ended up here. Yeah.
Yes. And we could try for the second Wednesday of the month
that's
and take either a 6:15 or a 7:15.
that's the 11th. Bear with me 1 second. We can do some of this work here on our own. Because what I've noticed, guys, is we're getting really good about upcoming meetings, but we're all in the same boat, all the committees and boards. The 11th is Devon's jurisdictional framework at 3 p.m. And then ZBA is the 18th. Do you think we can get stuff done in a month? Would Wednesday, the 11th of December work for the people currently here?
Probably not for me. I'll be traveling likely. I will know in the next couple of days.
Bob, you're either going to be the chairman or the,
Huh.
take
No
a risk. Take a risk. Anyway, but Colleen, could you do Wednesday, the 11th? And what time would work for you?
Now you're relying on me knowing my schedule.
No,
Give-
no.
No, I'd give 2 final exams that day. Probably but I think they're earlier in the day. So I think that date should be fine. Certainly 7:15 would be fine, but I
Okay.
think I'm also do 6:15 that day. So
Yeah. If we're hybrid or remote only, later is fine. It's just, it's the going to the town hall at 7:15, working for an hour and then grinding home. I don't mind getting up out of my chair, walking across the room, up 14 whatever stairs, and I'm home. So, Sean, could you do the 11th, do you think?
Yep, I could do that. At either 6:15 or 7:15 would
I
work.
tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do 7. And the reason we're going to do 7 o'clock or later is because Devon's jurisdictional framework happens right before the Devon's resolution. So that's 3 to 4:30. We are 5 to 6 for Devon's resolution. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen that day. I'm on the resolution. So we're going to do 7 o'clock if we can, Alicia?
Yep, I'll write to Carly tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thanks. I'd appreciate that. And we will get out to people the guidelines from last year.
Mhm.
Let's put our thinking caps on about what we're looking for funding from CPC. Any feedback at all, Colleen, would be fantastic.
yeah, we have a meeting the week before that, I think the 6th,
Yeah.
whatever that date is. So I'll have some feedback at the next meeting.
Okay, great. And fantastic. Anything else on anybody's mind at this point? I'd like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving in a few weeks. I can't actually believe today felt like winter for the first time for me. I don't know what time you left, you all got up and went outside, but I went outside around 4:45 this morning and it was
Oh,
a little bit cold.
mhm.
Oh, yes.
It was cold today. Well, with that, I would love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Colleen.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. And with that, we'll close the meeting for the evening. Thank you all for coming. Max, thank you very much for your help tonight. And hopefully we'll see you all again on Wednesday, December 11th. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody.